never, oh never, oh never again. If I live to 100 or 110, I fell to the floor and I couldn't get up. After drinking a quart that actually Johnny jump up. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Are we rolling now?
We are.
Darn it.
Darn it. You want me to start all over again?
Start faking the Irish accent really strongly now. Oh, Jesus.
We wanted to say that thank you very much to Blackwall Hitch for allowing us to use their space upstairs on the roof, the rooftop dining area, which is very nice, right?
It is.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
What brought you to this point? How did you come here?
Coming here, of course, is a long story. Born and raised in Dublin, Ireland. Lived there till I was probably 18. Moved to England for a while, went back to Ireland, moved to Belgium for a while, toured around a bit, came to the US and stayed here for probably about 6 months. Went back home again, and then finally moved to the US when I was about 21 or 2. And not as a musician initially, and then became a musician pretty quick after that. Oddly enough, not Irish music whatsoever. That was
really?
never anything I ever played. I never played Irish music in Ireland. Learned it over here because of crushing poverty. It was they would pay me money to play Irish music, but they wouldn't pay me enough to play anybody else's. So, and then I learned how to sing for the same reason, because I could make. This is going to sound terribly materialistic. I could make a lot more money as a singer and guitar player than I could just as a guitar player. So I ended up singing. And then after a number of years. Moved to Annapolis for career opportunities, moved to Maryland for career. Didn't play music at all for probably 2 years or even a bit more than that.
Did you play music at all back home?
In Ireland? A little bit, yeah. I mean, nothing huge. I mean, did little bits and pieces with bands and little tours of Ireland and did some stuff in Europe and that kind of thing, but nothing crazy, nothing that I have any recordings of or anything, nothing like that, so. But it was good.
No videos out there that we should know about?
I wish I could find them, yeah. When I run for president, you'll find all kinds of videos. They have a way of showing up, don't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of videos out there.
Isn't that funny, the way that works?
And then, so then I started playing guitar at Galway Bay around the corner here, just sitting on weekends, just playing. And one thing led to the other. Months and years after that, I was playing in the Killarney House. Playing in Killarney House, where group of guys, including Jim, used to come and see me play, which is really good. And then one night, the pretty blonde girl walked in, and she used to come and see me play too.
Yeah.
And then I asked the pretty blonde girl what she was doing, and she said she was a fiddle player. And I challenged her to go home and get her fiddle because she didn't have it with her. So she goes, okay, and gets up and leaves. And I was like, that's the last time I'm ever going to see this girl. And sure enough, about 45 minutes later, she walked back in with a fiddle.
Oh my goodness.
And I didn't know she could play. I had no idea. So we went into the back room of Killarney House, and it was clear she could play.
So about what year was that?
Oh, that was probably, 03.
Yeah, I was thinking.
02 or 03.
No, that was before Maeve, right? Before Ben.
That's right. So it would have been 06.
2002.
And when they were born in.
When were they born?
03, was it? That's what I thought.
That's around there, yeah.
So it was 03.
Yeah, okay.
No, it was 03 because, right about when we have kids are almost exactly the same age, a couple of days.
Ah, okay.
So, so it was about 03. You can edit all that nonsense out, right, brother? So, yes, I met Jennifer at about 03, 2, 1. I met Jennifer at about 03 sometime. And, so we started doing shows together and messing about, and I was just interested in putting a band together, so at that point I started to play some music with Vincent at Castle Bay. He's a guitar player, and I just knew there was a band in it somewhere, so put it all together and invited Jimmy to come along and play the drums. He brought his friend Nate,
Yep.
And then we had an original bass player called Phil Turner, who was a terrific bass player, but he just wasn't into the whole Irish scene. Didn't understand it, didn't get it, didn't like it. So in very short space of time, I met Eddie McGowan and asked Eddie after long conversations, asked Eddie if he wanted to be part of the band, and he did. And then that was it. So that's what got us there.
And that was the birth of the Rovers.
That was actually the Wild Rovers, believe it or not. It was the Wild Rovers originally, yeah.
I stand corrected.
And we still have, I can't wait on the 23rd to wear my original Wild Rovers shirt. It's going to be good. Yeah, so what started to happen was people just started calling us the Rovers. They just dropped the Wild. They just naturally did that. And then it was the Rovers, and there's another band called the Irish Rovers who've been around for 100 years, and they decided they didn't like us being the Rovers, so they sued us.
That kind of puts a damper on things, doesn't it?
No, it's crazy. They sued each of us individually for $250,000 each.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And they sued the band for $5 million. And so, which was nonsense. It was
That's crazy.
Completely stupid. So basically what they wanted to do was just put us out of business.
And make a point, yeah.
Yeah. So we just whatever, just
Not
changed the
worth it.
name, and that was that. So we did.
That's
And
incredible.
it all went away, except for about 2 years when they would monitor everything on Facebook and any kind of social media. If you pasted on there some, hey, you saw the Rovers last week, they would send a letter from their lawyer saying, take it down as a Rovers.
Did that apply to merch also? If somebody was wearing a T-shirt?
They gave us a grace period to change all that, to do everything, and we achieved everything long before the grace period was up. But that didn't seem to matter. They were just hammering us all the time. And I mean, I haven't heard from them in years now.
Right.
Thankfully.
Right.
But yeah, I think they broke up.
They retired.
Are you serious?
Seriously, about a year later, they packed it in. Yeah.
The year after they put the lawsuit against us, they did their farewell tour.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Anyway, so that's kind of what brings us up to date.
So-
Add in hundreds of gigs, and that was about it.
You've been around. What?
What do you mean?
In a good way.
It's a vicious rumor right there. I tell you what.
Well, what is it that you would recommend to a visitor, somebody coming in from out of our area?
Musically or generally?
Both.
I would say generally. Certainly see Annapolis, walk around, have a good time, eat in the places, drink in the bars, meet the people, have fun. But then get slightly outside of it too. Go to the beach, go over the bridge. People love the bridge. Every time I bring a visitor here from Ireland, one of the things we do in the last couple of days is we literally drive over the Bay Bridge with no destination in mind, but it's so shocking to see this giant bridge right outside the thing. That's always a fun thing to do.
Yeah, go to St. Michael's.
Go to St. Michael's, yeah. See,
It's
go
so
to
beautiful.
the shore, go to those places, and then definitely come back to Annapolis. And there's, if music is your thing, there's more than enough around town to keep everybody satisfied, I would say. I'd say one of the better music scenes I've seen in the U.S. is right here, I would imagine.
Sure. National acts at Ram's Head.
Sure, yeah.
Local acts all over.
Some of the local acts are better than the nationals, I can see. I mean, there's phenomenal musicians around town. And
Yes.
it's quite humbling every time we go out and we just go and check out a band, or not even go check out a band, just go out and hang out, and then roll into anywhere we roll into, and there's people playing, and it literally can be humbling. It's like, oh crap, I thought we were good there for a minute.
That's funny.
So yeah.
So, what do you take from music? What does it give you?
Oh, I don't know. That's the hardest question in the world.
That's why I ask it.
Yeah. Jim?
Peace.
Fair enough. Yeah.
As a father, and of course we have jobs as well. So music for me is a release. And you're at home, and the stresses of life and work with the kids, it's nice to go out and have, Ray and I have called it the greatest hobby ever.
It is.
And it really is. It is the greatest hobby. I absolutely love it. So it's a wonderful release. And the five of us get along, six of us.
Yeah.
We all get along pretty well. And it's nice to have that camaraderie of family.
Yeah.
Outside of the workplace and the family place.
It's echo all of that. It's that too, but I'm such an amazing scatterbrain. I can never keep my mind on any task for more than 15 seconds, and I'm always looking around. I'm already looking at what he's reading over there. What's he reading? It's weird. It's just that's just the way it is. But music, because you're playing with the band and so necessary to play well and do the best you can, forces you to focus your mind a lot. So in that respect, it can be terribly frustrating. It can be difficult. Music is not fun all the time. It's not. It's rewarding, but not necessarily. It certainly isn't easy, and a lot of times it isn't.
And there's a lot I think that people don't see. They don't see you loading in, loading out.
Right.
All of the rehearsals, learning material, relationships with your coworkers. It's not just all fun and games being up on stage.
You have to love
it was just being on stage, it would be easy.
Gosh, yeah.
As we often said, if it wasn't for the other musicians and the fans, it'd be easy.
Right.
You know.
But with all the load in and the practice, you have to love it.
Yeah, you gotta really want to.
You really
do it,
have
you
to
know?
have a love and a passion for it to really
Right.
do it, and to be relatively successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what happens with that is if it's clear and obvious that you are enjoying yourself and you're having a good time, even if it's not smiling like a grinning idiot playing music, which annoys me sometimes, frankly. Head down, nostrils flared, flying around playing the guitar, doing whatever we're doing. At that point, we're probably having the best time of our life. And if you're doing it, you're having a good time, and it's obvious to the audience, well, then they'll have a good time too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're concerned about what the audience thinks necessarily, it's to the point that it blocks you conveying the music to them, well, then they won't have a good time at it. It's a weird combination.
And you've got some really serious, heavy material too.
Okay.
In some cases, historical material that you don't want to just be, beaming from ear to ear on a lot of this.
That's exactly what I meant about some guys who do play Irish music or any kind of music. And they'll play the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald with a big grin on their face. I'm like, come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
Convey the emotion if you possibly
be
can.
authentic.
If you're capable of doing that and you can get the song down and get past the physicalities of just singing and playing, and maybe you can inject a little emotion into it, and that I think is what connects with audiences.
So the audience can empathize.
Yeah, and believe me, there's many times the audience simply don't want to empathize. They're just like, wow, that was a fun song. What do you want? But I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very philosophical, isn't it? We're really not a philosophical kind of band. No, that's really not us.
Okay. What would you consider to be the perfect gig? Where would it be? Who would you be with?
Hardest question ever. I think a lot of the gigs we've played would be considered somewhat perfect already. I'm not talking about perfect musicianship or perfect settings even, but perfect gig as far as playing with other musicians. We frequently, when we do festivals and stuff, request the other bands to come up on the stage with us. So we've shared the stage with many of our peers.
James Joyce was a really good example of that.
Okay. I'm not remembering that. James Joyce, yes, when we did the thing for 1916.
You were there.
No, I was there, I definitely was. And I believe I might have been the one that was asking people to get on the stage with us, right? I was definitely there for that one. That was a lot of fun. That was great. I don't really know about a perfect gig. I've got no idea. I mean, I've sat down in my mom's kitchen with my sisters and played, and that's been to the point where goose pimples and crazy. We played in front of 20, 30,000 people, and that's been wonderful too. And it's I don't know. It's almost an impossible thing to say.
You could have a practice that's a perfect gig. Everything is working together so well.
Do you find that you chase after that sometimes?
Perfection.
Not necessarily musical perfection, but everything coming together.
I think everybody does. I think you have to. And I think what happens, part of the reason for rehearsal, I'm sure is the same for actors and everybody else. It's once you break through the technicalities and you've done the rehearsing and you've learned the lines, call it what you will. At that point, then the freedom comes, and that's when the music becomes a lot of fun. When there is also a beauty to playing songs that are difficult, that you're not sure about. That little tension, the tension, the risk, that's a good word, is can generate some great energy. But there's also a point when you get beyond that, when you know the material really, really well, you trust all the musicians that are around you, and that can certainly, be very exciting to play and to watch.
Right.
And to watch. But yeah, I don't know how to describe that either. But rehearsing is extraordinarily necessary. A lot of bands don't, which shocks me. They don't spend as much time. We spend a great deal of time rehearsing.
Well, your music is also very complex. A lot of it is older music.
Sure.
And so there are other bands that have played it in their own style or fashion. But there's a complexity to what you're doing where you want to be on point.
Sure.
And want to know it by rote, I would imagine.
Part of the complexity is by design.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all relatively accomplished musicians, and we like to play parts in the music that we literally enjoy playing, that we enjoy doing. If we were to play the same as everybody else, we'd be like everybody else, and that would be no good. And but also the genre of Irish music that we play in, I think it's common across all the bands you might see that have reached any kind of success, is that I don't know if there's any other genre of music that's like this, where it's perfectly okay to play a song Dublin Five's way, and then play it Gaelic Storm's way, and then play it their way, and play it their way. And people will go to a festival and see 4 bands and say, well, I heard the same song 4 times, but I like theirs the best, or I like his, whatever. And it's perfectly understandable. It's okay to take these older songs and change them to your own way. And I don't think there's any other music. I'm not sure you could, I don't know, play a Jimi Hendrix song and put your own spin on it and expect it to be accepted. You know,
it'd be very difficult.
It'd be very tough. You know, or any kind of, like, shouldn't say top 40, but classic rock stuff, you wouldn't be able to do that either. You know. So, but with the Irish stuff, although many people would say it's not that contemporary, so that would probably make it easier to change it around. But I don't know. We like to experiment. We like to make things just. I think audiences too. I think audiences are very perceptive. I think they, even if they're not musicians, if they're not in tune to music and like a local music person that knows every guitar string of every guitar player ever played. I mean, if there's people out there like that, I still think that people can be fatigued by what they hear. You hear a lot of different bands doing very similar things, or at least not putting that little bit of extra effort in it. I think it gets the audience's ear gets a little tired. So what we try to do once in a while is we'll take that, instead of just playing that 1-4-5 chord, we'll throw something a little different in there just to kind of keep the audience fresh, and I think that works.
And I think there's one other thing, and that is that audiences are very tuned in to relationships on stage and chemistry, and know when something is authentic and when something isn't authentic.
Sure.
When musicians are having fun and enjoying what they're doing, and when they're just phoning it in. And you guys seem to keep it very fresh with your banter and kidding around. And and
we've been asked to rehearse the banter. We don't. That just happens. You know, that just happens.
Trouble someday.
That's funny.
And when it was me and McGowan on the stage, you never knew which way it was going to go. I mean, it was pretty free and pretty easy, and it was very good. I thought the banter was really, really strong.
It was very good.
It's one of the many things you miss about having Eddie in the band is that freedom. You know, that familiarity. I mean,
would you like to talk a little bit more about that?
About Eddie?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I'm going to say about Eddie. I just hope that he's finding some level of happiness and comfort. You know, that he's just can't help but wish him all the best in the world. You know.
Right. In the future, what do you hope to be known for or remembered for?
To be known for, to be remembered for. I guess it kind of comes back into the previous question, and or at least the way I answered it is, we definitely rehearse our band to perform. We're not a recording band necessarily, though we have recordings, of course, but when we rehearse and when we come up with new songs, a lot of it's based on what it's going to look like or sound like in a performance. What can we do in a performance? Because we like to make people happy.
Although your recordings are extraordinary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But we do. We literally, that's kind of where we focus our rehearsals, where we focus our stuff. And we do obviously record too, and we like them to be as precise as we can make them also. Sure. But performing is kind of where we're at. I don't know. I mean, the takeaway from Dublin 5, I've always said it, is certainly the music, but it's the number of people that we've met along the way, like you. We have weddings and marriages that took place from people that you come to see us play. Like, trying to get a point that, I guess, the legacy of the band, and that's kind of what you're asking,
right,
the legacy of the band, is it will be the people that we've met. It will certainly be that, and not only that we've met, that have met each other, and that it's
and that's generations.
It's an extraordinary group of people.
But that's
Weddings.
Generations also.
Sure, absolutely.
Relationships.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I've met people that I hope to know for the rest of my life in the band, regardless of whether or not we play or not.
Certainly.
It will definitely be the people. There's a tremendous group, actually a tremendous number of people. That'll be the legacy of it, is the number of people that know each other and hopefully know each other for a long time after that, you know?
Sure, yeah.
be remembered for? Did you ask that?
Mm-hmm.
Be remembered for? Some of the nicest things that happen, happen very often, but they happen from time to time, is that I'll get a text or a call from Ireland or New Zealand or Australia or Japan or somewhere around here, and somebody will say, "I heard a song on the radio and I can only think of you."
Isn't that something?
It could be anything. It could be a Van Morrison song or whatever it is. And it's amazing to think that there's people around the world at this point that are listening to our CDs and enjoying them. We've had guys from Navy flyers who have used our CDs while on missions over Iraq and Afghanistan. Stuff like that. It's like just people.
Just incredible. Yeah.
It's in their lives, and that's it's a very humbling thing, but it's also kind of a prideful thing. Not prideful, but a thing to be prideful about, I suppose. Yeah.
And they think of you as home.
Yep. Well, maybe some kind of a touchstone. That's home for them, and that's that. So, and it's on another level too. I mean, it's not to keep bringing the Irish thing up, but we're an Irish band. I mean, we play Irish music.
Right.
And somehow being accepted into a community that isn't necessarily an Irish community. Certainly there's influence here.
There
certainly is influence.
There's a tremendous Irish influence.
Sure.
And community of Irish.
But still the number of people that can sit down and enjoy the music, and I think that's partially because we put a rock spin on it. It's not, if we were sitting down with banjos and fiddles all day long, I'm not sure it would have the same impact, Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think because there is a rock influence there too. But it's amazing to be accepted, to be that. That's the only word I can say. Accepted.
Yeah.
For being Irish musicians. Yeah, it's good.
It's very neat.
The Emerald Isle of days gone by is never far away. I see her in my children's eyes every single day. The memories of the dirty streets and the music that we played keep me thinking of those days gone by, but now we're here to stay.